Well, I'm delighted to have come down here because I wanted people here at UKIP's conference, and I'm glad there were so many of them, to understand just how impotent Parliament really is, and I've got the opportunity to tell them that. And I want to be sure that people realise how pathetically weak we are in Parliament to pass our own laws. I think that's terribly important. I don't think people in this country really understand that.
It's very damaging. I'm sure some of you here are farmers, our farming friends. The pesticides regulation is coming through very shortly, which is going to make life extremely difficult for arable farmers. We've got the data retention regulations, which means that your emails and telephone calls and internet hits are all going to be stored for a year for inspection by certain authorities. The landfill directive, the horse passports directive, and the fallen stock directive, which again you may be familiar with, which means that you aren't allowed to bury your dead sheep on your own farm or your dead lambs, but there's a little wrinkle, you are allowed to bury a pet. So if you have a pet elephant, you can bury that, you can't bury a lamb. And perhaps the most damaging of all coming our way is the working time directive, which will limit the number of hours anybody in this country can choose to work. So on top of telling us what we may plant on our land and what we may fish out of our seas, we are now going to be told by the EU how many hours we may work. Now, the Parliament has no say at all in any of these regulations. It cannot alter neither the elected chamber nor the House of Lords, nor alter so much as a comma, syllable, or a word in any of those regulations which are passed into UK law. So, as things stand, why do we need 646 MPs? And why do we need actually 750 years? We are, in fact, grossly and expensively overrepresented. Japan has a population twice ours and manages with 450 MPs, 470. Russia, with a population of 144 million, manages with fewer MPs than we do. And the United States of America, with its 293 million population, manages 430 congressmen. And of course, the point is that those congressmen, those members of the assemblies in the countries I've mentioned, are real legislators. They make the law for their country, they make the laws that are enacted there. They repeal them, they make them. They are true legislators. Contrast that with Westminster, where for every law passed by our own elected Parliament and gone through the second chamber, the House of Lords, 20 more were enacted without Parliament having a say in them at all. 20%. It's absolutely astonishing the small amount of legislation left to our elected Parliament and to the House of Lords. Recently, I said 70% in my opening remark. Actually, I saw yesterday in Open Europe that one of the, I think it was a Danish MEP, a German MEP, said that 85% of German law is now put into law without the German Parliament having any say in it whatsoever. So you can take your choice, it's 70, it's 85, but it's a very, very large percentage of our law is now enacted without Parliament having a say at all. When I talk to my Australian and New Zealand friends, they're absolutely amazed. They say, well, it's like as if we contracted out our lawmaking to Japan or to Indonesia. And we say, oh, strike a beeping light, mate. You must be a lot of effing drongos. And of course, they're right, but that's why we're here, isn't it? That's why we're UKIP. We believe that things ought to change. And that is why a vote for UKIP on the 4th of June in these elections should make a huge difference. It's a vote for freedom, so bring it on.
And I hope people will take that message away and tell their friends, get them to vote UKIP at the European elections, because that's what it's all about, is the realisation that this country has got no proper parliamentary representation any longer.